Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. Look, it's my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. And, hi everybody. Welcome. It's a sudden, unexpected episode of the Captain Logan Show. Stream out of nowhere. So, we had to flip things around this week, and this is gonna, I'm sure, completely throw my week off, DJ. I'm gonna get up tomorrow, I'm gonna think it's Friday all day long. I just know it. And I apologize if that happens to you.
Well, it's already because we've got the holiday Monday, so my week's already thrown off.
Yeah,
I already feel like it's Tuesday.
It's already botched all to hell. That's true. So we might, this might as well be the week this happens. So Austin, a few hours ago, let me know that he wasn't going to be able to make it tonight for the request. So I managed to get a hold of DJ and get the schedule shuffled around. And we're here tonight to do an hour, a Captain Logan Show for you. Gonna do a odd, silly little lead-in topic for you. I'm gonna look at some Batman comics that maybe I don't know about from the last few years. I'm gonna run down some of the recent list on DC. What's it called these days? DC Universe Unlimited, or what do you even? Oh, Infinite. That's what it is, DC Universe Infinite. They had to slightly change the name when they took all the streaming shows and movies off. And then, so it was DC Universe first, then we became DC Universe Infinite. It's like we take most of the stuff that people cared about off of it. I mean, I was excited about it that they kept the comic side. It's like we're gonna take most of the stuff that people were subscribing to this for off, and then add Infinite to it. You know, make it sound like you're getting more than you were, even though, you know, you're getting less. But I thought that would be a good place to just check out what Batman stuff DC's been releasing in the last few years. It wasn't too long ago that they were doing like 80% Batman over there, just trying to stay afloat. Now they've got a new slate. Dan and Austin and I reviewed some of that last year. We were actually liking some of the new stuff they were putting out. I have not had a chance to get back to it. I still have not been really keeping up with current, and I always feel weird about it. I always want to dip my toe back in a little bit, and this is a chance for me to do that. And I also thought of this because we're right at the end of Batman, and we haven't done quite as much content as I was hoping to do for Batman. So we're going to do a little bit more Batman on this program tonight, just, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, looking through that, and then the rest of the show we'll answer your questions about anything you'd like us to talk about. It doesn't have to be Batman related. But anyway, and then tomorrow night, Austin and I are going to finally do the request that we were supposed to do tonight, which is on the first volume of 2 volumes of Stan Lee creates, or just imagine Stan Lee creating the DC Universe. So I've been reading that all week because it's a lot of pages. So it's the first 6 of those 12 stories. It's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and one more. I forget the 6th one, but anyway, it'll be weird eventually getting to the second volume because I've never read all that stuff, DJ. And in the second volume, he even at the end of it, he does Crisis. So he does his iterations of the DC characters. He invents them, and the premise is a little muddy, but it's supposed to be like, what if Stan Lee made the DC Universe in the first place, and it would be like more Marvel-ish, and it's in his 60s style, because let's face it, he never grew out of that. So it's not like he's being all nostalgic and going back to the well. Like, that's how he wrote modern comics when he would write modern comics. But he does all these or maybe Justice League is at the end of that first volume. I think that's what it is. But anyway, so he reinvents all these characters, and they're all origins. And then apparently he ends the whole thing with Crisis? Like, the point of Crisis was there were too many continuities, it was too convoluted. It's like, here's your introduction to all these characters. We'll do maybe one story pulling some of them together with Justice League, and then Crisis on Infinite Earths. All right. So I'm excited to find out what that was.
That should be nice and crazy. I can't wait to hear about that. I've never looked at that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
doesn't sound like it's as good as I would hope, though. I don't sound like you loved it.
I don't want to say too much yet because I'm still in the middle of it. But it's I don't know. It's not his best work. I guess I'll say that. That came out in 2001. I remember it was kind of a big deal when it happened, and I think I've read 1 or 2 before now. Somebody actually in comments recently was like, I remember, Cap, you and Vince liked the Superman one, okay? And I was like, Oh, I guess we reviewed that at some point. I don't even remember that. Yeah, all those years ago. Anyway, and then Friday night, Austin and I are also going to come back and do a new episode of the Superhero Rewind commentary project for you. We're doing Batman Returns, which feels really soon since the last time I reviewed that with the off-the-cuff rewinds, but it won a poll, and Austin and I are going back and doing new commentaries for every superhero movie ever made as much as we can. So it was going to have to show up at some point. So I have nothing new to say. I guess that's not a great way to get people to come watch the video. Great way to pitch the thing. But I don't feel like I have anything new. You know what? Actually, I was watching it today and I thought of a couple of new things. But I don't know. I've said a lot about that movie, but it'll be fun to watch it with you guys. So pop in Friday night if you are so inclined to hang out with us. Things on the channel are going to be, content-wise, a little bit lean over the next month or so. I've got 2 week-long trips, I think, back-to-back in June. So I'm going to have to take a bit of a hiatus. DJ, I'll let you know when exactly that's going to be and when I'm out of pocket. But I may take a lot of the month off. I may just take those couple weeks. I'm not sure yet. So you guys might not see me much over the coming weeks, and or at least over the next month. And I know it's been a little bit. I've had to back off a little bit on the channel anyway the last couple of weeks because of film shooting. So I didn't have anything last Friday. We had Kareem in town to do some stuff for the movie with us, and Kareem's been on some comic videos. If you're not familiar with him, but he's a great guy. He's a great writer. He's in my writer's workshop, and we had a really fun time with him over the weekend. I got some great stuff shot. DJ, the movie is really coming together already. We've only been shooting principal photography for the last 6-7 weeks, and I think we've already shot somewhere between, I don't know, 24, 26 pages.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. I'm glad it's going so well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I as always, I don't want to tell you too much yet, but we got to do a little bit of.
Much. I'm the no spoiler guy.
Oh, that's true. I meant everybody else, but yes, yeah.
0 frames,
dude. I keep almost sending you things.
It's fine.
Like pictures and clips and stuff, and they're like, he doesn't want to know anything. I guess
I mean, I'm gonna come there and be part of it, so you can send me stuff.
That's true. Cool. But you could just be, spoiled of that one section.
Yeah, I'll be Gwyneth Paltrow. I'll shoot the scene. I won't know what movie it's in, but I'll shoot it.
I will say that's that is a pretty spoilery scene. You're showing up for a kind of a climactic moment.
Well, it was also the end of It was like the finale of Homecoming, and she also still didn't know. So,
yeah. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and do my real quick silly lead-in topics. So, I've not looked at this ahead of time, so this is going to be totally off the cuff. Just seeing what I see. I thought it would be kind of fun to look at just how oversaturated Batman apparently has been at DC since COVID. So I don't know how far into the last 4 years we'll get. I'll just kind of scroll down some of this. And if something really sparks my interest, I'll click on it and we'll take a look and see what the synopsis is, maybe a page or two. But let's go ahead and look at this. So I've got this set up on DC Universe Infinite for just looking at books Batman is in. There wasn't any way to toggle it to look at Batman titles this way anyway, where I could look at it by date. So some of the things that will pop up here won't be Batman books. They'll just be things that, a Batman or a Batman character happens to pop up in, I suppose. The first thing I see is JL Ape, which I didn't know about, and I can't actually look at it.
Ape, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Starring Grape Ape.
Well, and I don't know if this is a throwback thing or if this is a new idea. I seem to recall there being something like this in the 90s with some of the weirder Elseworlds things they did. Or maybe there was like an ape character or some ape characters, and now they're bringing them back as JL Ape. I don't know. So it used to be that everything that was on DC Universe Infinite, if you had a paid subscription, you could look at. But now apparently they have a higher dollar tier that's Ultra, and You can't look at everything anymore, which seems like a bummer at first, although I looked into the pricing of it. I didn't go ahead and get it yet because I don't know how much I'll use it. If I start really getting into new again, I might consider doing that. But what Ultra gives, first of all, it's only, so you can't pay for it monthly, you have to pay for it all at once. And see, now I feel like I'm just an advertisement for this subscription service again. All we do is advertise subscription services here, DJ. But apparently it's $120 a year, which is, I think, just the price of the service if you were to count up, the monthly price altogether for the regular service. So it's actually not a bad deal if you don't mind dropping it all at once. And I think what I read was there's some Black Label stuff and like more adult stuff that's only available that way. And then you get your digital books, I want to say it said 30 days after they release instead of 6 months. So that's pretty cool that they're offering that now. So that dropped in March, which is why I can't look at it now and why it would be under that banner. But if you waited 4 more months, it would then presumably show up here and you'd be able to read it. So just in case anybody's wondering what that upgraded service is, that's what it seems to be. Batman Dark Age, drawn by the Allreds, which immediately makes me interested. I don't know who Mark Russell is right off the bat. Gotham's favorite delinquent son and an origin story. Oh, another origin story, DJ. We don't have enough of those for Batman.
Hey, keep them coming. Keep them coming. It's like Batman and Spider-Man. You can do as many as you want.
And Superman.
Superman, yeah.
Witness the boy become a dark knight shaped by a city in turmoil as it marches toward its prophesied doom. Prophesied, okay. Set against the backdrop of actual historical events, Gotham comes alive, filled with the iconic characters who've loved and hated Batman over the years. Wow. And spinning out of Superman's Space Age, which I also don't know anything about. See, this is how out of touch I am. I'm glad I'm popping in to look at this. Okay, is there a way to save these things?
Crisis.
Yes. Is there a way to save these things to read? Yes. Add to list.
Add to list.
To read. Here's my private list.
I don't have the DC one, but I've been using Marvel Unlimited a lot lately because I've been reading the Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Spider-Man run to my kids.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, they've been really enjoying it. They've been wanting me to read them. We just read this weird issue 8 today, which is just an all-teenager episode where it's just like Flash Gordon and Peter Parker fighting, and then
Flash Thompson.
Flash Thompson, yeah, no, he fights Flash Gordon.
Let's do the Spider-Man Flash Gordon crossover.
He just fights. He boxes Flash Thompson in school, and then he fights like this big giant robot that gets out. It's a very weird episode. I don't know what.
I remember that.
It's like a filler issue.
Okay, well, right away. I mean, I don't know that I have to read JL Ape. But right away, I found one that I've absolutely got to look at some point because that premise sounds really interesting, even though it's another origin. And I love the Allreds. The Allred Silver Surfer is one of my favorite series of all time now. Batman Dylan Dog seems like a crossover that nobody asked for. And did not come up on the video that Austin and I did recently about crossovers we'd like to see. I didn't think of Dylan Dog. I don't even know what comic company owns that character. Anyway, then you have Red Hood, The Hill. We're still doing Red Hood stuff. I'm assuming the fire emblem means that these are things that a lot of people are reading. I guess because it's got a fire on it. I'll look at this real quick. Oh, now I'm just loading the comic. Oh wait, no, here's the synopsis. Okay. I don't know. It's Red Hood. That doesn't sound all that exciting. Okay. I'm not gonna read everything. We don't want to take too much time here. I'm gonna answer questions after a bit. I'm not sure why Death in the Family is in here. That's weird because obviously that's not new. So maybe they just did a reissue of it, of just that issue. I don't know. There's Batman Santa Claus Silent Night, which looks initially like a Klaus crossover, but it's not. I actually started reading this not too long ago, and it's as goofy and throwaway as it sounds, DJ. But what's weird about it is the covers anyway are drawn by God, why is his name not coming to me? The guy that did Klaus. So Dan Mora. So it's immediately really confusing looking because like, oh, cool, it's Klaus, and then it is in fact not Klaus.
You're confusing your Santa Clauses there, sir. Maybe that guy just really likes Santa Claus.
He seems to, because and of course
I relate. I also really like Christmas movies.
He does most of the art, not all of it, but most of the art for the Renegade Power Rangers tabletop stuff, and here's the grid, and the deck builder and all of that. And they did this silly thing a couple years ago where they actually added Santa Claus to the game as a ranger, and they had him draw it. So that was surreal. Seeing the guy who drew Klaus come in and do the Santa Ranger, and he's wonderful. He gives other players gifts that they then flip over and use at various points in the game. It's great.
Wow, I just bought a really weird, obscure Santa or Christmas movie from Canada that maybe Austin's familiar with. Apparently, it plays on TV a lot there. It's called The Christmas Martian, and I bought it from Vinegar Syndrome. They were having a sale. Boutique label putting out. They have like a little kids movie line, and that was one of them. So I grabbed it because I like Christmas stuff.
Then we got Batman Off-World. Okay. Let's see what this is about. It just kind of screams like, let's put Batman in every possible situation because the only thing that we have that sells is Batman. It's like, yeah, like we've never seen Batman in space before. I don't know, like Batman Off-World. Ooh, like it looks like a really cheesy, cheap 90s thing. But apparently Jason Aaron's writing it, so maybe I'll take a look at that. Because I even said the other day I'd love to see a like flat up Jason Aaron Batman run. And he's about to start doing Turtles, which I'm excited about. I think that comes out in a month or two finally. Or maybe it's this month. I got to check into that. But anyway, so I don't know. Just based on the fact that it's Aaron, I'll check that one out. And Doug Mankey's always good. So let's see. Add to list. Yep. All right. Well, we've got 2, DJ. I tell you what, we'll stop when I've got like 3 or 4 things on my list that I feel like I just absolutely have to read. More like we'll stop when I feel like I've done this way too long.
That's good. That's a good time to stop. Once you feel like you've overstayed your welcome, you should probably.
Yeah, well, that was the 2-hour version of the show. No, we'll eventually get back to that. There's a new Outsiders comic, apparently, with Batwoman at the helm. I'm not going to look at that right now, but that's cool. I've heard nothing but great things about Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. The art looks really killer in that. I love this Batwing design. It's really pretty. This just on recommendation, word of mouth, I will go ahead and add to my list. I'm not the biggest Godzilla guy. I don't have to read that in comics. But it's very rare when you hear people freak out about a crossover. So I got to check that out. Oh, it's a Justice League versus Legion of Doom story first. That's fun. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Although I love that the artist that's drawing this, we're selling it real hard on his having done the Batman Fortnite crossover. That's what he's known for, folks.
Wow.
That thing was oddly had a lot of hype when it came out. I actually got a
Fortnite oddly had a lot of hype back in the day.
Yeah, I actually got and I mean this was just last year, like a couple years ago. I got a lot of, or not a lot, but I got a few requests to do that crossover when it happened, and I was like, guys, I don't know anything about Fortnite. Why would I talk about that? Why would anybody want me to talk about that? And then we have Batman the Madness. I heard about this. I don't know anything about it. I just heard about it when it came out. It looks like yet another Court of the Owls thing, maybe. I'm honestly a little sick of them, folks. But for decades, the doorway between the cities has been sealed and heavily guarded by the Court of the Owls. But now the door swings wide, and the twisted version of the Dark Knight has escaped. Oh, okay. It's another one of these. Who's writing this? Everything by Christian Ward. Somebody in the comments tell me who that is, because I feel like with the thing that's all this one guy, I should know what that is, or who that is, but I'm not familiar with him. Am I going to add that to my list? Morbid curiosity, just because it's all one guy, and that makes me kind of curious about it. I don't feel like I have the highest standards for what I'll check out here, DJ. Apparently, Batman's in the
I mean,
new
when it's
Wonder
as
Woman
easy
book.
as just to click to the library, it's not that. I mean, you're not investing much. You just click it.
That's true, but just for the sake of the stream, though, I feel like everybody's gonna go, "Wow, he's gonna claim to read everything, and then he's never gonna look at any of this, is he?" Like,
Well, yeah.
oh, I may come back and do a part 2 of this because there's a lot here, and a lot of it I've not heard of, and this is actually very interesting to me. I'm just gonna fall down a rabbit hole of Batman in the last 6 years, I think. Gargoyle, pardon me, of Gotham. Oh, look, the Noir edition. It looks like this is a 6-issue miniseries that has been going a while. It looks like it's late now.
The Noir edition, was that released by Zack Snyder?
Well, I say of 6. This says, but I thought I saw a thing that said 1 of 6, but now I think I just misread it. Okay, I don't know how many of these there's supposed to be. It is Black Label thing. It could just be 2 books. It's also possible. Who is Grandpa? I'm sure that's not how you're not supposed to pronounce that, but it looks like Raphael Grandpa.
Oh,
I don't mean to make fun of the man's name.
That could have been your next child's name.
That's what I should have named him.
Raphael Grandpa.
In a Gotham City where
Williamson.
every day feels darker and more. I should be reading these in more of like a like a trailer announcer voice, like in a Gotham City where every day feels darker and more irredeemable than the last, Batman makes a definitive choice. Why is there a dash there? Batman makes a definitive choice to kill off the Bruce Wayne identity for good and embrace the cowl full time.
Pause for dramatic effect. I thought you were going to do him in a Christian Bale End of Dark Knight unintelligible voice. That would have been great.
Oh yeah, I should have done that. Hang on, I gotta get into that for a second. Harvey Dent, can we trust him? Okay. A serial killer's on the loose.
I'm talking about when he's talking to Joker in the rain, which doesn't help, and he's just like pelted.
Well, it's worse at the end of Rises, where like he really feels like he's out of breath. Like he's been running. I mean, I guess he got stabbed, and that's supposed to be why he's doing that. But he does that in other places too.
Yeah, they're not great on the cardio. He's really all about the show.
That's not great on your voice either. Like he's never going to be the lead singer of a band, that's for sure.
Adam Arch says Gotham by Grandpa.
Gotham by Grandpa. I'm sure it's is like Grumpa maybe. Like I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with, because I don't know Spanish, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with that punctuation mark.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't see it. It's so small on my screen. But
I'm sorry. But yeah, at least like when he's talking to Gordon at the end, that real sappy moment where he's like, when someone takes a coat, and gives it to a little boy after his parents die, and I'm like, take a deep breath and then talk for a while, you know?
Yeah, you should, like, when they invented that voice, they didn't think he would be, like, expositing backstory for minutes and minutes at a time.
I think I've got enough. A serial killer. That's what you have to do is, like, it's actually a whisper just in the back of your throat that's real, that's real force, real voiced, and so, or like, not voiced. So, like, in order to do it, you don't actually put...
It's like a lower-pitched Yoda.
Like you're not gonna hear your actual vocal cords.
You could do the same thing and go higher, and you'd be in your Yoda voice.
Oh, true that is. A serial killer is on the loose. And while the murder victims seem random at first, every clue draws Batman closer to the terrifying truth that they're all connected, not to just each other, but to him. Well, it's nice to have a detective story. Okay, I'll throw that in there. Yeah, look at that. I should.
That's
because
the line.
This is also a writer-artist book, and it's not fair that I made fun of Raphael Grandpa and that I'm not going to actually read his book. So I got to make sure and do that. Let's look at like one more, and then we'll start taking some questions. Do you have any questions, DJ?
Yeah, I got some questions. I got a super chat.
Does anybody want to chat with us tonight? Yeah, I haven't been able to. Thank you. I haven't been able to look at the comments for a minute. Birds of Prey, of course, I always get excited about. And let's see, this started September 4, but they've only got the one issue here for some reason. Oh wait, no, here's the rest of it. Okay, I don't know why it was listed that way. Anyway, I'm bad at technology, DJ.
Yeah, can we rename this title? Gen Xer struggles to navigate streaming software.
That's exactly right. I think I'm technically a millennial, but it's right on the cutoff. Like, I think maybe we've had this conversation. 1984, I think millennials technically like starts at like 82 or 83.
Oh, interesting. I'll do research.
And I
That's the
feel
first
like
research I've had to do tonight.
yeah, those two generations are a little, I don't know, like it's a little too clumped together. Because if you talk to anybody born in '84 and then anybody else born in like '89 or later, we're almost different generations just in those 5 years. It's weird, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, and like not knocking younger people than me. It's just I feel like there is a big difference.
Well,
there is kind of a
internet
generation
time
gap.
is like changing. We have to like narrow generations because
That's it.
everything changes so fast.
Exactly right. Yeah, I'm tiptoeing around because I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging people younger than me. Okay, so this is a real mixed bag here, DJ. And based on this lineup, I don't know if I'm going to actually take a look at this book. Because you've got Cassandra Cain, so immediately I'm like, yay, like that's exciting. And then, of course, Black Canary, because you can't have a good Birds of Prey book without Black Canary. But then Harley Quinn, like,
Andy's out.
They did that stupid movie, and then now she's got to constantly be in freaking Birds of Prey. And it's the same thing with Suicide Squad. You know, like she's also not really typically and originally a Suicide Squad member. Get her out of my everything. She's like Patton Oswalt, okay? Get her out of my everything. He's got a game show now.
Oh wow.
He's in everything.
Good for him.
No, don't act like don't say good for. I knew where that was going. And then you got Big Barda, which is okay.
Big Barda.
Yeah, and then I don't know who this fifth is. That like Katana? Or like elderly Katana? Like what? Who is that? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll take a look at that.
Does she have a
some
sword
point.
that traps the souls of her victims?
Oh, here's an ad for Grandpa's book.
Oh, nice.
Mega Death. There's some Oliver Queen and Dinah Lance. Okay. Well, I might take a look at that.
There you go. See, there's the benefit of digital. You can just take a little peek inside.
Exactly. And then if you don't care, you can be like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Alex Barron says Patton Oswalt is Cap's sleep paralysis demon.
There's a newer Batman Beyond book. Who's drawn this, or who's writing and drawing this? Neo Gothic. And is this an ongoing, or is this just a miniseries? Because Dan Jurgens was on this book for like 70 issues or something crazy. And we finally got a new book, it looks like. Who is doing this? Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, and pencils by Max Dunbar. I don't know any of these people. Okay.
You've been out of the game. You got to brush up on your artists.
I have, yeah. Well, I'm overwhelmed. I have the same problem that a lot of people do just trying to get into comics or trying to get back in after a lot of years. Like, now I'm that guy where I got out. You know, I stopped buying the crazy amount of books I was buying around 2016, and I got full out by 18, 19. Like, by the time the pandemic happened, I just wasn't even regularly visiting the comic shop anymore. Apologies to William and Elite. Like, nothing against you guys. I just really lost interest in the current game. And then I keep hearing about things that are kind of, sparking my interest here and there, and it still sounds super hit and miss. And I don't know that I'll ever care really about, like, continuity again, DJ, on either side. But, like, especially with Batman, there's so many non-continuity, just, like, standalone miniseries and graphic novels and, like, 13-issue maxis. And even stuff in continuity that sounds really easy to jump in, read, and get out of, that I'm starting to think maybe I just need to, like, pick a pocket like Batman and just do a deep dive and not worry about like any other books or characters for a while, and that might be my in back into the world. I mean just of comics in general, because then like maybe there'll be a reference to or a tie-in to something else that looks interesting, and then finally I'll start finding myself, looking at a bunch of things again. That's probably what I should do.
Little dip the toe in and see how it goes.
I don't think I'll ever have like a giant pull list again and feel the need to buy everything I'm reading because I've got so much access with digital now. I I'm getting to where I kind of, and I've talked about this, I'm getting to where I kind of prefer reading that way. So like when I buy, it's to collect, and because I can read in digital, I don't have to worry about my books getting ripped up by kids or I'm actually spilling something on them or anything like that. And I tend to just buy for cool covers now. DJ, like when I do walk into comic shops, I tend to still buy 3 or 4 issues, and it's just because they're covers that look cool and I want to display them.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably just collect that way more. This is not going to be interesting to anybody. Okay, let's go ahead and tackle some super chats. Oh, real quick before that, just a comment reminded me of this. The one recent thing I've looked at recently, maybe I just said recently twice. The one thing from the last couple of years that I read some of recently, maybe I talked about this somewhere, is Tinian's Joker monthly, which I think ultimately ended up being like a 13-issue maxi, and I think he's doing a sequel to it now. But the premise was really interesting. It's and no spoilers. This is just the setup for it, but there is a like secret like shadowy agency that is, and not government, it's like a criminal agency that tries to get Jim Gordon to go overseas and murder the Joker. It's like a hitman. And I thought that premise was intriguing, and it's got a couple of Tinian staples that are kind of irritating, and the backup features are always Punchline, which I skip because who could possibly care about that character? He's like, I invented her. Everyone has to become a big fan of Joker's new hench girl that's not Harley Quinn. It's Punchline. I'm like, Tinian, stop it. Nobody cares. Like, really, you're embarrassing yourself. Knock it off. But I read about half of it. I haven't gotten back to it, but I was actually really enjoying that. And that's the big thing that got me going. Maybe I need to start looking at recent Batman again, even though it's like horribly oversaturated. But it seems like the quality of a lot of it is maybe pretty good. So like, it's hard to complain about too much of my favorite thing. Like if it's good. I mean, it sucks for like fans of other things at DC if they got buried in Batman. But being the big Batman fan I am, I'm kind of okay with it if it's good.
Buried in Batman, also a good name for your memoir.
Yeah. If I mean, I don't have time, but if I turned this into a new series where I just reviewed all the Batman stuff that's come out in the last 6 or 8 years, DJ,
It's a good
Buried in
title.
Batman, that's a pretty damn good show title. Okay, well, I wasted half the show with that. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. What do you guys want to talk about? Anything you're interested in? Go ahead.
Anything at all. We've got a super chat from T-Edge1 for $2. What is
Thanks.
your part? And he doesn't want us to leave Batman. He wants us to talk more about Batman. What is your part of Batman 0 Point?
Oh, sorry, that wasn't very loud. There we go. Okay, wait, what was the question?
What is your part of Batman 0 Point?
Tom, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. I mean, that's that Fortnite thing again. My part of it? I'm sorry, coming from Tom, I'm going to assume it's a typo.
What is your...
I thought he was going to say problem with, but he's saying part of... I don't know how to read that.
Were you not part of it? Were you not...
No, I was not.
They didn't consult you before they put out Batman 0 Point?
No.
What role did you play in the release of Batman 0 Point?
And rightly so, to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh, I forgot the all-important word, favorite. What was your favorite part of Batman
The fact
0
that
Point?
I'm not reviewing new regularly anymore, so I didn't have to talk about it. I think that's the answer.
Unfortunately, favorite, one of those words you cannot leave out and still keep the
Thank
point of the
God
sentence.
he elaborated. Well, and it's not like it affected... Yeah, like maybe read it over once before you hit the send button, Tom, because it's not like it was going to jump it from a $2 to a $5 super chat or anything. Like it was one word favorite.
Yeah, you could at least, and you could knock it down to fave, and we would still understood.
Okay, so we only have one other super chat, and it's also from Tom talking about Fortnite. Tom, I really appreciate the super chats. I'm not gonna have anything interesting to say about this. Okay, we need to get off the Fortnite.
We don't
folks.
condone the use of Fortnite in super chats. Stop it.
No,
but yeah,
we really don't. It's like alcohol. Well, no, because like alcohol, the problem is like overconsumption. You know, like I actually like that occasionally. I have no interest in Fortnite.
There's no moderation for Fortnite. TH1, $5. If you had to read Fortnite Marvel or Fortnite Batman, which one would you prefer? Your answer has future ramifications. You guys rock. Uh-oh.
Apparently, it has future.
That's ominous.
Apparently, it has ramifications. Which suggests that. So I might be reaching with this, okay? But that spelling, ramifications, suggests to me that whichever one of those I read, I'm more or less likely to get trapped in a deep sleep. In REMs, that's the best I've got.
Yeah, I thought it was like a slang term that Gambit uses whenever he wants to like fix up soup up a car or something. I'm doing a few ramifications.
I got to do some ramifications. It's a little Frencher, a little more French than even Gambit.
Yeah, sorry, I've been taking my French lessons on Duolingo ever since the beginning of the year.
No, I'm talking about mine. Mine was pretty bad. Mine was going
Yours was like,
full tilt Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast. Ramifications!
Ramifications! Yeah, you got to go, whenever you start doing the fake laugh, then you've gone too far.
Or when The Mask, when Jim Carrey goes into his fake French accent in The Mask, like it sounded like that.
But yeah, Fortnite, Spider-Man or Marvel or Batman.
I didn't even know they did a Marvel one, so I'm going to default to Batman.
There you go. Well, it sounds like he's going to send you one of those in the future, so you just picked Batman.
Okay, but that is still like I don't want to give him any ideas. I was going to say that's still a like, you know, threaten my family, tie my hands behind my back, pull a gun on me kind of situation before that ends up happening, you know.
All right, let's go to some pre-writtens from the old chat.
As always, guys, feel free to throw in a super chat if you're so inclined. That guarantees that we'll talk about your topic. We got 20 minutes left in the show, and you can leave regular comments with questions as well. We'll hit what we can in the remainder of our time.
Here's a little short a gimme here, but from Dan's Den. What's your preference for a background on your computer?
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's come to this, has it? This is a 308 number show kind of question.
Well, it's just getting personal. You know, people like to know what's going on.
It's a little too personal. It's a little too personal.
Is it? Is that what you keep?
It's a little too Raph. DJ,
he just keeps that picture of Raph gagged on his computer all the time.
Right. I'm trying to make him read a Fortnite comic. DJ, for the last couple of years, my wallpaper, maybe longer than that, my wallpaper has just been the Geekvolution wallpaper that you designed.
Look at that.
Because, you know, it makes me look all professional and like I have like a real job or something, and it's pretty, and I love it with my decor, and the background on my phone is that too. No, we have such a good, and I don't mean to gush at you or anything, DJ, but we have such a good professional looking logo now and wallpapers for every kind of thing, every kind of device, that I tend to just use it for everything now, and I feel like it's real timeless and it's not going to get dated. So like I don't know that I'll ever update it at this point.
Well, it's on your arm, so you can't really change it at this point.
Well, that's true, like the actual logo, but I don't know. We can update the wallpapers and stuff. Like,
of course.
We can make that look different. But I love it. The whole like kind of sci-fi, storybook, or I guess you were going for more of like the covers of a sci-fi pulp from the 50s or something. They're really pretty. And I don't know when I'll ever get away from that. So that's what my wallpaper's been for the longest time. But it tends to just be, if we're just talking about like desktop or phones or whatever, like it tends to be just either Batman or Tick, or the rest of my phone besides the Geekvolution thing is Nights into Dreams right now.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, you showed me that. You got kind of set it up because it kind of matched. It was like purple.
Yeah, I found a whole template or the whole scheme. I don't know what the kids are calling that these days, but the
theme, I guess.
Theme. I found a whole theme that was like crescent moon based, and it's got a lot of purple in it, and the font was also very nice, and so I was able to just add Knight's pictures in, and it makes the whole thing look like a Knight's theme. Because, of course, that's kind of obscure, and that's not going to exist. But
That would be amazing.
I don't know that I'll ever change that on my phone either, because I'm afraid if I leave it, I won't find it again.
Alex Barron. Well, first of all, I got to
Well,
read this.
what's yours? What do you like to put on your wall for wallpapers?
I don't have an interesting. I don't do anything for my desktop. I just leave whatever the default from Apple is.
Oh, okay.
So I don't ever leave my desktop screen like open. Like I just have stuff open all the time, so I don't even see the background. And my desktop is never on camera like yours is sometimes, so I don't feel the need to like put the Films by Color logo on it or anything. But plus, this is my work computer also, so that would be weird.
Sure.
So I don't really mess with it. Well, yeah,
I like to personalize all my stuff.
We do have a very, very pressing matter here from I can't find it now. Where'd it go?
But it's pressing.
It's very important.
We've only got 22 minutes left in the program.
Our chat is just so jam-packed.
Sorry, I can't do math. 18 minutes.
Let me ask you this one, and then I'll get to the pressing matter here. This is from Alex Barron. Also, I'm sure a great question. What's your favorite montage in film or TV? Mine is the split-screen montage from Better Call Saul.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. Well, the Breaking Bad universe in general had some of the best montages of all time, and they always have incredible song choices. So I don't know if that my head would have gone to Breaking Bad if you hadn't said that, but some of those are just killer. A lot of the meth cooking montages in general. The first thing that comes to mind whenever
that's tough.
Oh, it takes forever. I mean, like I can't. And some of the time lapse stuff they do in that show, where it's just Walt and Jesse sitting in the front of a Winnebago, like not talking to each other and being bored and in driving, and there's no cut, and you can tell that they just filmed them doing that for like the amount of time they got away with filming that show was absolutely nuts. And then there's another one in the last season or second to last season, I think it's second to last season, with Jesse going on pickups with Mike, where they're sitting in a car forever. They do that time lapse thing again, where Jesse's just bored out of his mind, like looking out at the window. God, it's just nuts the amount of time and effort they put into some of those montages. When anybody says the word montage, and this is not my favorite, except maybe ironically, the only thing it wipes out everything else in my mind. The only thing that comes to my mind is that goofy montage in Rocky IV, where he's sitting in the car.
And he's driving the car, yeah.
And they get is that the Hearts on Fire montage? Is that where that song is? And
I think so. I've only seen it once.
I think that's where that is. And it's just a clip show for the first three movies. And he's just remembering everything that's happened in music video form because we got to play the entire song. So it's really padded. They took that out of the director's cut, which was the right move, but it's also kind of hard to imagine that movie without that montage.
Did you see they're releasing the entire series finally on 4K, and they did another director's cut of Balboa.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Or he did another director's cut.
Oh man, I'll have to get my hands on that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It includes 1 through 6, and obviously the director's cut for 4 and 6.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how I have those movies. Like I think I have 1 through 5 in a box set, and then the rest of them I just have individually. Did that 4K release also include the Creed movies? I'm gonna assume not. I'm gonna assume it's just Rocky.
No, it is just the Rocky films. They gotta wait for the next box, because they just released a box set last year with 1 through 4 and the director's cut of 4 in 4K, and now they're doing another one with just 5 and 6 added. So maybe they'll do another one with the Creed movies. Got to keep it going.
Of course they did. there's that action montage. We'll move on after this because I always do this where like I throw out decent examples until I come up with the definitive one, and I don't think I'm going to get the definitive one on this. But
No, that's a tough question to think of on the spot.
Well, there's so many great ones, right? There's that that action montage in The Matrix with the camera spinning around the room while they're all looking at the phone, and then it ends with Morpheus, I think, walking up to the phone and picking it up and getting jacked back out. No, coming into the Matrix in the first place. That's a good one. I don't know. There's a bunch of good stuff. I'd have to think more about it to come up with like the definitive one. That's a good like top 10 list.
All right, very pressing matter. Michael Bisping wants
I've been on
to
pins
know-
and needles about this.
Well, he wants to know. He says, "Where the hell are your fingerless gloves?"
Where the hell
What
are
are
my
you-
fingers?
what
Well,
are you doing?
I got to keep you on your toes. You know, I can't
It's
wear them
basically
all the time.
nudity on camera. We haven't seen your hands in ages.
It's funny you say that though, because I did a video last week without them and nobody said anything. And I think it was the Captain Logan show. I don't think I had him last week in the Captain Logan show.
Oh, well, nothing gets past Michael Bisping.
Apparently not. I don't even know who that is right off.
He's the gloves police.
So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to be like, I don't recognize your name. Thanks a lot for watching. And he's going to be like, oh no, you know me by this name that I used for 20 years, 15 years. But anyway, no, thanks for the comment. Yeah, so I was wearing them a lot more earlier in the year when it was colder outside and a little colder in my basement. I have this condition where I sneeze really, really easily if like certain parts of my body get randomly cold. It's a really irritating thing. And I mean, like, it can get really extreme. I will sneeze 20 times in a row if I'm not careful. And that's never happened on a video, thank God. But
well, we gotta remedy that as soon as possible.
but I've gotten to the point.
That's the next 89 commentary, is the sneeze commentary.
I've gotten to the point where at certain points of the year especially, I have to really cover up. And it got so bad this last year I had to resort to fingerless gloves, which is the reason I was wearing those all the time. And then it became just kind of like this sort of joking, style choice because people kept laughing about it, make fun of it. And I was like, well, I'm gonna wear these a lot more. And then now it's like 90 degrees outside, and I'm like, F the fingerless gloves. I'm not gonna wear them all. I'm not all the time. And right now it's not. I mean, I'm wearing a jacket, but it's not, warm enough or cold enough down here for the fingerless gloves. But yeah. I will say, again, I'm trying to be careful not to spoil too much, but you may see some fingerless gloves in the movie.
Uh-oh.
That could happen.
Speaking of your jacket, Adam Arch says, Cap isn't wearing fingerless gloves and he isn't showing his tats. Is this even 2024 Captain Logan?
No, this is actually, I've been dealing a lot with time travel lately because I'm making this time travel movie. And so in the course of that, I brought in a me from 6 years ago. But I'll take the coat off too because I think it's warm enough. I can do that.
A little striptease.
Now you can see the tats. Yeah, and then we'll also just junk up the background here. There we go.
Man, between seeing your fingers and now your forearms, I don't know if I can handle this show. This is too hot and steamy for me. Played Out also said that you're just showing off your weight loss with your skinny fingers.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. No,
you've been hand modeling them the whole time, I see.
I will actually say I got a nervous tick where I'm constantly touching my face. That was problematic during COVID. But anyway, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, I actually put on a few pounds again, for the movie, and I again try not to give away too much stuff, DJ. But because of I've already told you guys I'm playing multiple versions of myself in the movie, and for one version of myself I wanted to be a little bit less in shape, and then I'm now working out real hard and changing my diet again for a different version of myself I'm going to be playing. So I'm really messing around with body fat and
Wow, you're going
sculpting and
full
stuff
Christian
right now.
Bale for this movie.
Yeah. Well, and I was losing the weight.
Machinist.
I was losing some weight and trying to get in better shape for the movie in the first place. But then I realized, and like I needed to, not to get like too deep into this, but like I don't know, I probably had like 25 pounds to lose, and so it was kind of smart that I dropped a lot of that weight. And then I realized, and I thought, you know, in order to play this particular version of myself that I wanted to be in a lot better shape, I was just going to do that in the first place. And then I was like, well, the version you meet at the beginning, it's gonna look better if he's not in like the best of shape. And so anyway, I let myself go just a little bit, gained a few more pounds.
Man,
Not a ton though. I don't think you can really tell in the face or anything, but
so many leaks in this thing. The reporters are gonna have a field day with this episode.
it kind of helps when you don't have, you know, like a big following and not all that many people care.
Oh, I live in that world. It's great. Where are we going here? Well, let's go to Patreon. Shall we go to Patreon?
Sure.
We have some questions from our wonderful
And if you'd
patrons.
like to leave a question ahead of time, patreon.com/geekvolution, just the $2 tier, and I put out a prompt for this monthly, so you'll get to ask at least one question a month. I didn't look back to see if we got any more for this week, so I'll definitely do that next week. We're a little bit behind on these, so we'll try to finish out May next show, and then I'll put out a prompt for June and maybe also July, because I don't know how many shows we're doing in June. I am going to have to take some time off, so.
All right. Justin Hayes, congratulations. You've been selected to lead our brand new Mars colony. As part of the military draft, we have chosen you to be the steward of the first extraterrestrial human colonization.
I don't want this job. Why do I have to take this job? Stop saying congratulations. I don't want this job.
What's your plan for success in the new world?
God, well, first I need to become, what do you call it, a scientist. And the next I need to become, what do you call it, an astronaut. I'm not qualified to answer this or to make any of these decisions about what we do. So it's first Mars colony.
Yep, and as part of the military draft, we have chosen you. So you've been drafted to be the steward of the first extraterrestrial human civilization. So you're basically like a mayor.
God,
A small town on Mars.
I feel like the most qualified thing, the most qualified role for me is like morale officer, and that makes me like Neelix in Voyager. So you don't want that. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with like a good answer, but I don't know, DJ. Like I don't know enough about what even trying to colonize Mars would entail. You know, like obviously you're gonna set up. I mean, like a lot of sci-fi stories have been told about this, and there's been a lot of speculation over the last couple of decades about what we would do if we could actually, like, when we actually colonize Mars, because it's looking more and more like likely that if we colonize, well, first of all, if we colonize anything in the solar system, the only chance we've got is Mars. It's the only place with water that's not too hot or too cold. So like that's the only planet we could even terraform. If we had, so I mean, the first thing is, you know, you go there
First,
and you have
steal
like
the codex of a baby, and then you would
that's great.
rush off immediately.
Right, you show up with your dubstep machine, and you go wow.
I call that the Hans Zimmer graph.
So you'd have to, but unless you could terraform right away, and of course that would take a really long time. Like you're not going to be able to Genesis torpedo it. I listened to it's so weird. I listened to a lecture not that long ago actually about terraforming, and on the low end it sounded like if you were going to terraform Mars, it would. I don't know how this came up. I didn't prepare for this. But it sounded like
reference.
Say it again.
I just made a stupid Zod reference, and it summoned this knowledge that you have.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that until you said that. I was like, oh wait, no, a couple weeks ago I was listening to a lecture on this subject, and the and this was from like, I don't know, 15 years ago. So I don't. So like out of date information. It's possible we know more now where we can do it faster. But at least in the mid to late 2000s, NASA was saying it would take on the low end like 100 years to terraform the planet. And to terraform Mars specifically. So if you were going to try to colonize before you terraformed, and I don't know if you could have people on a station or something on the surface of Mars while you were terraforming it. Like, I have no idea if you could do that. But if you could, like, I guess you'd build like a biodome first. And you'd have...
A Thunderdome, even.
Well, it'd be a biodome in that, you know, you try to have you try to fill it with air, and you try to be able to, you know, grow food and plants and stuff in it, and then you just study the planet and live on it for as long as you could, and hopefully it would be multi-generational because it would take too long to come back. But as far as you know, like a specific plan or how you would live on it, I mean, the point would just be to study it so that you could make it more habitable. Beyond that, I don't really know what I'd say.
Well, you had a lot more to say than I thought you would, so that was great.
As did I.
The Amalgamation.
I said nothing, and I'm sure it was filled with inaccuracies.
Do you see an Injustice game possible, but with Marvel characters instead? What would you want the storyline to be about? Well, it exists, sir, and it is called Marvel Nemesis.
Rise of the Imperfects. Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't, right? Because that was a 3D beat 'em up before it was a fighting game. I think it had like a one-on-one mode, but it was like it had a campaign in it. It was a lot more like a beat 'em up thing. But
yeah, the fighting game mode is what I remember mostly, because you would just like you would just fight each other. It was like Super Smash Brothers, but it was flat on a plane, and like you were looking down at them, and you were so small on the screen, and you were kind of running around, and if you were Magneto and the other person was Daredevil, like there's literally not a chance he could do anything. You just throw everything in the whole
there was no
level at him, and he's
balance
just dead.
whatsoever.
No balance,
but you know, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a fun game back in the day.
But that game was again 3D before it was 2D, so Injustice is a 2D plane fighter with 3D models. So
yeah.
It would be cool to see a Marvel thing like that, although the difficulty that you run into is we already have and we haven't added to it in a long time, but we already have a great Marvel fighting game franchise, which is Marvel vs. Capcom, and just the Marvel Capcom series in general, starting with Marvel superheroes and the X-Men and all of that. And so you'd have to try to make it different enough from that. And if it was going to be a Mortal Kombat clone, you'd rather just that company get the license and be able to basically just make the same game but with Marvel characters. So as far as like what would it be like, well, I mean, I think you've kind of answered your own question, right? That like there's no reason you couldn't. It wouldn't be fun to play Injustice essentially with DC characters. As far as what the story would be, the first thing that comes to mind is, instead of trying to finagle like some reason for heroes to be fighting each other and doing the kind of the evil Superman thing again, the first thing that comes to my mind is do it as a Marvel Zombies game.
Oh.
Because then you have a really good built-in reason for it to be hyper-violent and have a lot of blood. And you don't have to force that. You don't have to be like, it's Marvel superheroes, but it's edgy this time. Like, you just go with something that already is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying when I was calling Marvel Nemesis that, because that's what it was. It was like a dark and grungy, messy version of the Marvel Universe where Spider-Man is swearing and everything. I thought it was so crazy that he was swearing when I was a little kid.
Yeah. But that felt a little edgelord with it too.
Yeah, exactly.
AMC says Civil War. I guess that'd be the other way to go about it. But the problem with Civil War is you would have like immediate sides. So it'd be kind of weird where you'd be like, okay, this character is supposed to be fighting this character, but I've chosen to have him fight this character who's on the other team. You know what I mean? So you basically have heroes and villains, except they're all heroes that are just on different sides. And doing something like Marvel Zombies would allow you to have heroes and villains, and it wouldn't be weird to try to get the villains like in the mix. You could also do. You'd also just pick a different like universe or future or something where you could do like characters from Old Man Logan. I don't know if there's a big enough roster there, but that might be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I don't know. There's some notions.
I
X-Men's always great for fighting games, though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I want X-Men Next Dimension. I don't even want a new game. I just want X-Men Next Dimension
Just to get
like,
ported.
ported up so that I can play it again because it's the best.
See, DJ's like me. He just goes to the past for video games, except I go back farther than he does for most things.
Yeah, X-Men Next Dimension was GameCube, I think, because that's what I had
It
on.
was.
But it was like a further evolution of the X-Men Mutant Xavier game for PlayStation 1. That was the same kind of fighting style game, but there was a lot more characters in Next Dimension and it was upgraded.
Yeah, and I remember that other game not being very good.
Yeah, they kind of took that and made it a lot better. All right.
I haven't played that in forever. I don't think I have a copy of that.
Oh.
Next Dimension.
Oh, it's fun. I always play as Beast, but Forge is in it.
Watch that be like $80, $100 now.
Probably.
You can't buy GameCube now. God, I wish I'd bought up a lot more GameCube when it was cheap. Which was not that long ago.
Everyone's talking about like comic characters swearing now. Like when Raphael did it. Although he said it from Spider-Man's voice instead of Raphael. I don't know what you mean there, Cinematographic. If you could, this is Sakib. If you could retcon any movie out of existence, which would it be?
So real quick before you, I've got 4 or 5 answers for that. But real quick, so we're at an hour. We'll make this the last question.
Oh, sorry.
But no, you're good. But before we, I just didn't want to keep you up all night, DJ. Before we get to that question, I just wanted to say, Jason and I actually had this conversation today about just inflated video game prices and prices of some comics and things. Because I don't know if you know this, but comic prices have actually or values have actually waned in the last 3 years. Like they were a lot higher in 21, and they've and some of them have come back down, which is good if you're collecting and not so great if you're trying to sell anything. But I brought that up to say I could not make Spawn Year now. Not the way that it was. I was thinking back on some things that I bought during that show because Jason was asking me about like how much stuff I had to buy for that show and how I funded it and stuff. And I was telling him about how my wife, when I when I started putting that show together, was really cool and gave me I can't remember, it's like $100 or $200 to get started on props and stuff. Because I was telling her about the premise of it, and I can't remember if it was like a birthday gift or what exactly it was, but just one day I woke up and I was about to go work on that, and she was like, go buy stuff for the show, which was super cool of her, and I bought, so I had, and I've sold it now, but I had a massive Spawn comic collection, and I owned a lot of it, but not all of it. And through the course of Spawn Year, I accumulated all of it. And there were certain issues that were a lot more expensive than others because of low print runs into like the late 90s, early 2000s. And that stuff was like $30, $40 a pop through, I don't know, 15, 20 issues. Some of it was less, some of it was more. So, I mean, I didn't spend like an obscene amount of money. I think all told, that whole show, it probably cost me $1,500, $2,000, maybe. But I actually never put a real dollar amount on that, and it was over a period of 2 years. But when I was looking into that, I panicked for a second because I was like, oh, there's like 40 issues I don't have, and some of this is getting really expensive. That stuff's probably a lot higher now, and some of the early issues that were not worth anything when I started, now all of a sudden, because somehow Spawn either got popular again or is perceived to be, that stuff got a lot more expensive. So like Spawn #1 is like a $20 to $40 book now, and it maybe more than 20, and it was, I mean, they made they sold 1 million copies. That's not rare. It's not hard to get. There's lots of them. So it's crazy that some of that stuff is valuable now. But the big thing, DJ, is I reviewed the Spawn Dreamcast game called In the Demon's Hand. And I had a copy of that for the longest time, and I was excited to get to that in the show. And just like a few weeks before I was going to start on that episode, I went to get the game, and I opened up the case, and the disc was missing. And so I had the case, but I was missing the disc. And I was like, oh, crap, I'm going to have to order that game. That kind of sucks. It's going to eat into my budget. So I went on eBay, and I found a copy for like $30. That is a $100 game or more now.
Jeez.
Like in 10 years, that's what it's gone up to. And like a lot of stuff that's happened with. All of a sudden, I've got all these valuable games in my collection. They never used to be worth all that much. Sonic R on the Sega Saturn, I've owned that forever. I've got it complete. And I saw a complete copy at an independent game store last year for $250. And I went, I don't know, do I have to keep that? Like, am I really gonna hang on to it? And like, yeah, I probably am, but I don't even know what my collection's worth now. And I'm sure a lot of people are having this, and especially people with a lot bigger retro game collections than I do. But I only brought that up to say I couldn't make Spawn Year now. It would be astronomically more expensive than I. And I'm saying starting with the comics I had, because of course I really couldn't now if I was going to still physically put everything on camera, because I'd have to rebuy everything. I sold it, but yeah, if I started with what I had, I still probably couldn't make it now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all checks out. It all makes sense. We're on the cusp of, the biggest hit superhero movie since Iron Man. So we're gonna do the dawning of a new age with this Spawn movie.
Well, I think what'll happen is the opposite of what usually does, where the movie comes out and it's and this doesn't happen with everything, but let's say Deadpool, right? Like the first Deadpool movie came up, and New Mutants '98, skyrocketed in value, and with this is a movie that keeps, you know where I'm going with this, that keeps getting talked about like it's going to happen. And so Spawn stuff is going up in value. I don't think it actually has anything to do with the announcement of that movie, by the way. This is a joke. Let me preference that asterisk. This is a joke. But what's going to happen
Always the best way to start a joke.
Yeah, exactly. But then what's going to happen is the movie is going to come out and all of that's going to plummet.
And then you can make
Nobody will care anymore.
Sequel.
Exactly. Robert said you just blinked a lot, and he's concerned. Are you like Emma Frost in First Class?
That's how I flirt. Sorry. That's how I get cops to get me out of tickets. Is I just blink at them a lot.
Have you ever seen that video where somebody counted the number?
I'm also usually handcuffed to a bed.
Have you ever seen the video where? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Have you ever seen the video where somebody counted the number of times she blinks in a scene?
I did, yeah. I think they did that joke in that Cinnamon Sins.
Oh, maybe that's where it was. It was like, it was like 34 times.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
She was. It was method. She was making a choice. It was like you bare and all with your fingerless gloves. We just got a super chat while we're yammering on.
Okay, let's answer the question that you started to ask before, and then we'll make the super chat the last question.
All right, Sakib from Patreon. If you could retcon any movie out of existence, which would it be?
Yeah, I mean a lot of stuff comes to mind. Some of my like least favorite movies I had to sit through in the theater include things like The Box and White Out. I've complained about those before.
I don't think it can just be a movie you hated though. I feel like it has to be something that like changed things.
Yeah, well,
in a bad way.
No, I think you're right, but in my defense, there are some things I'd like to retcon out of existence so that I didn't have to sit through them,
Yeah.
Like if they didn't exist, because yeah, you're right. The idea is probably things that influence the culture, but DJ, I'm selfish and it's my show. What about things that influenced me negatively, that like I'll never get those 2 hours back again and I've thought about way too much.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I hate that.
But the real answer is Thor Ragnarok, and I don't care if anybody comes at me with that. But I think
that's a good one.
The trajectory that was Too many R's in that word.
Too many syllables.
The trajectory, there it is, of the MCU, I think, is maybe healed a little bit by no Ragnarok. I think the argument could be made that they're a little bit more sober, a little less self-indulgent in 4 and 5 if we'd never had Ragnarok. I think an argument can be made.
I could see your anger-inducing comment that'll make people mad and raise you one even more. This isn't my actual answer. This is a joke, as I always like to preface my
right.
jokes
You got to preface it.
Actually, there's a tinge
rules
of
here
truth
on
in this,
devolution.
though, because you could take it back even further and retcon the first Avengers film, because that's where for me it really started to. Joss Whedon had like a lingering effect on the universe after that, where the first phase is much more in line with what I would have liked to continue, and then we got Joss Whedon, and then everything started turning more towards that, and then we got the Joss Whedon stream, and then we got the James Gunn stream, and then it just kind of tikied all over the place. It just kept on going. So maybe I would like to see an alternate universe where we don't get Joss Whedon and we keep with the tone of the first phase. That would be cool.
Well, and I mean,
obviously that's not my answer of like all time.
Yeah,
ever.
And I mean, I don't want to sit here and argue with you because we could talk for like half an hour about that, because my response to that, in agreeing or not, would be extremely nuanced, because like I get that that's a lot based on personal taste, and then like for my own personal taste, you're right and you're wrong. Like that is a 50-50 thing, because I said back in the day I wasn't real sure Whedon was right for that, and I stand by that. I like that movie a lot, but where we end up going after that, we go to some really great places and some kind of poor places, and I think the like if you want to track it back that far, the humor issue that we've had definitely starts in that place. Regardless of how I feel about that movie as a whole, it didn't have to do that to us, but it did. And the same thing with Guardians.
Yeah.
What's your actual answer?
I don't know. Retcon out of existence. Star Wars, because that franchise sucks. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying. I'm in a mood. I mean, if
you're making it about, this is great because I think you're overthinking in the way I usually do. But if you're tracking back, trying to like solve a big problem before it starts, just staying in superhero, because I could do this for lots of different franchises, I guess. But I would have to say Man of Steel even for BVS, right?
Yeah, Man of Steel.
Like just get rid of the entire DCEU and start over.
Yeah, just start that franchise differently.
Certainly. And then
I know DC would like to retcon the first Spider-Man movie so that they didn't miss out on the whole renaissance while Marvel was making bazillion dollars.
And somebody in the comments said Star Trek 09, and I think that's a really good answer too when you go over to the sci-fi and just like larger franchise realm instead, because if that never happens, you don't have the Abrams train the way you do, and maybe you don't have the Kurtzman train. So I mean, like for the franchise, most near and dear to my heart, I need 09 to not happen so that you never end up with New Track and the Kurtzman stuff. And like, I don't hate 09. It's not what I want for Star Trek. It's fine if that was just a movie franchise and then we could get things back on track with TV, because Star Trek's always, for me, a TV show first. But that's not what happened. And as much as I like Beyond, it ain't worth it. So yeah, that would be the other one. So I don't know. There's 3.
Yeah, I can't think of any others that would like make a huge difference. I'm trying to think of where you could stop the Jurassic Park franchise, but it would have to kind of be like the second one.
The second one, yeah.
you
just make that a movie in the first place, and then you don't get a sequel until like 30 years later, when you get this great like decades later thing that's hopefully not too soft rebooty in Force Awakens or whatever.
I don't know though. I don't think if you got rid of the second 2 movies, I don't think that would change Jurassic World at all, because I don't think that's really looking at those that much. So we might
No,
get
that's true. You might end up with
Jurassic World again.
You might end up with, but yeah, with the stupid see-through whirly sphere thing and everything. It's all gonna be in there.
Have you ever done
It's a great question.
commentary on that film? That would be a fun film to do a commentary on.
No,
I
not
haven't
yet.
seen it since the theater.
So Austin and I are just absolutely ADD and bipolar in the way we make videos, in the way
Two
we
of a
start
kind, really.
series. Yeah. So what we do is we start a series, and then we never make any more. And then somebody goes, "Hey, remember when you made that video? You're gonna do some more of those?" And we're like, "Oh, that's right. I forgot about that." So we did. I wanted to do the Jurassic Park sequels because I've done a commentary years ago with Oliver Harper on Jurassic Park, and Oliver and I intended on doing the other sequels, and we never got around to it. And then Austin was like, "Hey, we should do the Jurassic Park movies," and he was like, "I guess we got to start with the first one," and I was like, "Okay, that's fine if you want to do it again." So we did it again, and then we never got to Lost World, and we still never finished Terminator. Although we'll never completely finish Terminator because I refuse to see Dark Fate again. Like I just won't do it. So we'll do the other two at some point maybe. But like he really wants to do the Alien Predator movies. I still want to get to Rocky at some point. Like there's a bunch of commentary series I want to do, but we should probably finish Jurassic Park at some point. And I don't know how many people actually really care about us finishing that, but and I don't know how dull a Jurassic World commentary will be because that movie is kind of a slog. There's fun stuff in it. There's a couple of really great set pieces, but other than that, I mean, it's not a good script.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since the theater. That's been a long time.
And then I don't know. We as long as as long as Lost World is, you'd almost tack Jurassic Park 3 on top of it because that movie is only like half an hour long.
Oh, can I retcon Frozen out of existence?
That'd be great.
There's one.
That's an excellent answer
Because that has ruined Disney movies ever since. We only do the exact same kind of animation and we do the same kind of stories. That's my answer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've already probably pissed some people off, so I'll go back even further and piss more people off. I would retcon Shrek out of existence.
Oh yeah.
I'll take it farther back. I think you get rid of that and you get rid of some crap. DreamWorks movies.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Maybe Illumination never even happens if you do that. Like,
well, Shrek taught the studios that, hey, these films don't even have to look good and people will go see them. They can look like garbage, and as long as they're funny, people will go see them because it's 3D animation and everybody loves 3D animation.
You need a really popular voice cast. And you need, and I realize people like Shrek, and I've not seen that since the theater because I didn't like it when I saw it. So I'm not actually firing shots. I'm just saying that, and that might have just been a taste thing. But I have noticed a pattern since then. And if you didn't have that movie, you maybe wouldn't have as much of this. We were maybe already on our way in some ways, DJ, with some Disney stuff. But what Shrek taught us was, this is the formula. You go to a fairy tale or a fairy tale-like kind of thing that Disney hasn't gotten its grubby mitts on yet. And then and it's not always fairy tale stuff, but that's what they do with Shrek. So then what you do is you get a really popular voice cast that you can sell the movie on real hard in your trailers, and then you make a lot of pop culture references that aren't really relevant or make any sense in the time period and are kind of least common denominator, low hanging fruit stuff, and then you get a really popular band from right then to cover a song from 30 years ago. and that's how you make a kids movie. And also fart jokes somewhere. I don't know if Shrek has that, but a lot of them after that do.
Oh, of course.
That's Shrek. Very important. And like moon jokes, like butts up against glass, that's important.
Shrek was the template. Yeah, it's interesting you say because it was kind of a parody thing from the beginning, which that didn't really catch on. But I guess we're to a point where everything DreamWorks makes is kind of a parody, except for you got the outliers.
Well, that's just the culture now. Like everything's parody. You can't
so
even
you're
tell.
Blaming Shrek for the culture.
I am. I absolutely am. No, not really.
Anti-humor is because of Shrek, everyone, and Cap is not happy about it.
No, No, that's
love
my
this.
answer.
Let's just keep making.
Forget
this great.
everything
Can we
else
do
I
a
said.
whole
That's
stream
the
where we
answer.
just piss people off the entire stream because this is fun. Someone in the comments, I'm gonna second this
DJ
guy's
just
comment.
wants to tank my audience. He's like, you know what's really fun? Making everybody leave. That's
There's a tinge of truth in all of it, and that's what makes it. That's what sells it.
DJ, you're fired.
I'm fired, everyone. But yeah, Plushie DX.
We got to make it official. Okay, he's fired.
Oh, the gong of despair.
We gonged him to death.
Oh, well, if you got to go one way, Plushie.
If you gotta go with a smile.
Plushie DX says, I'm going to co-sign on this. Retcon the Disney Renaissance. Whoa.
What?
Wow.
Why would you want to do that?
Oh, because it ruined everything. Every single movie has to have these dumb, annoying sidekicks ever since.
Okay, here's the thing. This is where I draw the line. Okay.
Oh no, we've gone too far for.
This is where I draw the line. Whatever you're retconning can't be like great and brilliant in the first place because we can do this with everything, right? Like Austin and I made a GNN last year. I think it was last year or the year before about great things that ruined everything. And what we've learned is most of our favorite things also had these really unfortunate side effects because everybody tries to do them afterwards and does them poorly. And Hollywood, the music industry, you name it, does not learn the right lessons from success. Yeah. So you can do this with anything. You know, you can say, I wish the Matrix didn't exist because of all the slow-mo and camera spinning that we did for the next decade. And I wish that The Dark Knight had never happened because all we did was Zimmer scores and Zimmer-esque scores with everything. Like, yeah, it sucks how much that stuff affected everything and all we did was repeat everything. But if you had a hard and fast rule, DJ, that you wanted to get rid of everything that had that effect, you'd have no good things anymore. Everything would suck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why I'm only picking things where I wouldn't mind. Like, The Little Mermaid is the first Renaissance movie. I don't care. That's not that great. It's fine.
I can't meet you there.
But yeah, importantly, we got some good quotes out of this. Adam March puts in quotes, butts against glass. That's important. Captain Logan 2024.
See, I do that in a calculated way. You know?
Yeah.
I set you up for him. I'm totally expecting that later on I'll get a fake movie box with a quote like that on it.
Yeah, or your gravestone. Go ahead and put that on there.
I mean, you gotta stop speaking for me. Is it possible to double fire a person?
It's happened before.
DJ, we're already 20 minutes after the show. We should probably get going. But everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Sure. I hope you enjoyed this evening's early Captain Logan show. Again, Austin and I will be back tomorrow night with a new request. We're going to talk about Just Imagine ... Stan Lee creating the DC Universe. Can you imagine it? It's both nothing like what you'd expect and exactly what you would expect. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then Friday, we're going to do yet another video on Batman Returns because you look at some of my content and you'll think, wow, they only made X number of superhero movies. So all kinds of stuff we haven't talked about yet, but that won a poll. And we're doing new commentaries on everything, even if we've got lots of commentaries on them before. And we still are not anywhere close to the number of 89 commentaries when we talk about Batman Returns. Just one more time. Surely this is the last time. And I'm probably going to give Austin the floor a lot because I've really, really, really said my piece on that movie. And last time I talked about it, when I did the off-the-cuff rewind, it was the most positive I've ever been on it, even if I had still lots of criticisms and lots of fun nitpicky things. But I had a much, much, much better watch than I'd ever had with that last time I saw it. That's probably too many muches. I'm probably overselling that. I still don't really care for that movie, but like I don't, it doesn't make me want to throw things. I wouldn't retcon it like I might some of the other things we talked about tonight. I like it better than Shrek, and Shrek's in it, so
that's true. Different brand of Shrek there,
and spelled differently. Dad, no.
That's a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon I'd like to play.
What? Christopher Walken or Shrek? The name Shrek.
Well, you would go Shrek to Max Shrek to some other Christopher Walken movie to, that's how it works. Just go all over the place.
Thanks for explaining how that works.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, I forgot to preface it with this is an explanation of game rules.
Yeah, it's really important that you always put your thesis statement up in the front.
I agree.
All right, well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again real soon, hopefully. I was Captain Logan, and this was DJ Martinez. You guys are great. We really enjoyed hanging out with you, and we're gonna play you once again with Taking You for a Ride.
But only one.